Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen McConnell, and you are about to see a mini lesson from the Units of Study in Writing, 3rd grade. It's Bend 2, Session 7, and the mini lesson is rehearsing storytelling again and again. There was a little bit of technical difficulty with the beginning of the recording, so before you watch, I just wanted to catch you up to what we had done so far in the mini lesson. We started off with the connection, where I shared with students some new materials that they were going to be using in the workshop, which was a storytelling booklet that they were going to use with no writing and their writing folders. In this specific lesson, we combined 2 classes of 3rd grade students so I could model for the teachers. So you also missed a little bit of logistics. I made sure that each student knew who their partner was and had students choose who was going to be partner 1 and partner 2 so that when we had time to turn and talk, they knew who was going to speak first. When the lesson begins, you'll see the students in conversation, and partner 1 is telling a story that they've been working on from a seed idea. I hope you enjoy Writers, I heard some amazing stories. I'm so excited for you to get a chance to turn these into your books. So I want to tell you something. This is really important, so listen up. When writers come up with their ideas, they don't just come up with an idea and bingo, I'm going to write a book. It's not quite that easy. So just like a singer has to rehearse for a concert, writers have to rehearse to write. Yeah, we all have to practice. Ever heard practice makes perfect? Yeah, we have to rehearse and we have to practice. And so one of the best ways that we can rehearse for writing is to storytell our stories. And we tell our stories over and over again, and we tell them maybe a little bit different each time. And that helps us get more ideas, and it helps us make our stories get better. So I also brought my notebook today, and this is where I keep all of my ideas for things that I might want to write about. And I was thinking, I want to show you how this works. So I was thinking about a story idea that I had, and I wanted to tell it to you. So before I tell you about my idea, I wanted to just tell you another little tip from an author. Does anybody know, this was one of my favorite books, does anybody know the book Thomas's Snowsuit? No, it's a good book. You should read it one day. The author's name is Robert Punch, and he said, you're not going to believe this. Are you ready? He said that he never writes a story down on paper until he's told it 100 times. Can you imagine telling your story 100 times? No? We're not going to tell our stories 100 times, but we're going to practice saying them a lot because it's going to help us get more ideas. So that's what I'm going to show you. Yeah, so we jot down ideas and we can tell them over and over before we start writing to help us make our stories even better. So I had this idea for a story. When I was in school, my friends came up to me and they said, hey, can you go buy us some candy? And I was thinking, that might be an interesting story for me to write about. So that's my idea, but then I have to think, okay, well, if I really want to be able to tell that story, I have to imagine myself back in that moment when it happened. So I'm going to just think for a minute. The story, we were going to get candy. I was in 6th grade. So I was back in elementary school and I was in 6th grade. And let me just think how that story started. It happened on the playground when we were at recess. And there's a little twist to this story. But I was on the playground at recess and my friends came up and they said, get us some candy. And that's my idea. So I'm going to show you. Did I? I'm going to story tell and we'll see what happened. So this is my drafting notebook, and you see there's nothing written in it yet, but I'm going to use it to help me think and tell my story out loud. So, here's what happened. There were about 6 or 7 of my friends, and they came up to me, and my best friend Julie said, "Kristen, can you go and get me Junior Mints and also Juicy Fruit?" And then she gave me $1. And then Greg came up to me, and he wanted his favorite candy, which I knew meant Milk Duds. He wanted a big box of Milk Duds. And he said, "Get as many as you can." Okay. So then my friend Kabir came up to me, because he loves candy too, and he wanted me to get him some M&Ms. And then my friend Allie, she came up to me, and her favorite candy is red licorice. She said, "Kristen, please get me some red licorice when we go to the store." And so I took all of their money, and I stuffed it into the pocket of my jacket. And I didn't have time to write any of their ideas down because it was recess. And now I had to sneak off the playground to get to the candy store. And I had to get back before the teachers realized I was gone. So I raced to the edge of the playground. I snuck off of the playground. And I went to the store that was just a block away to buy the candy. So.
That's so cool.
So then, I pushed open the door to the store, and the lady at the checkout center said, "Hi, can I help you?" And I said, "No, thank you," because I knew exactly where to go, and I made a beeline straight for the candy aisle. I started getting all the candy, and I had so much candy I could barely hold it in my arms. So I'm going to stop there for just a minute. And I want you to think for a minute, what are some of the things you noticed when I was telling my story that you've been learning about in your writer's workshop? So think in your heads for just a minute, don't say anything. Turn and tell your partner some of the things you noticed me doing that you've learned about in writer's workshop.
What's that?
I heard you coming up with some really good ideas. So I would just want you to listen for a minute and give me a thumbs up if you noticed that I added a lot of details. Okay, what about give me a thumbs up if you noticed that I said, that's okay, that if you noticed that I said the start of the story on one page, and then I told a different part on a different page. Give me a thumbs up if you noticed that. Right. Let's see what else. Give me, and some people might think, like, that's kind of a silly thing to do, right? There's not even any words written on this page, but I was still using it and pointing to it to help me tell my story, and that's something that I do to help me think about the different parts of my story. Because I think you've been learning about how you can take tiny bits in your story and then use that to help your reader imagine, or almost it's like watching a movie about what happens. So could anybody almost picture a movie? Like you could see what was happening?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I
Okay.
pictured you and your friend.
Cool.
And you sneaking to the store with blonde hair.
Okay, so listen to this. So I went like the part by part, and you said you could imagine me like you were actually watching it and seeing what was happening. And that's a really important part of being a good writer. It's almost like watching a movie. So I want you to try it right now. So this last time, partner 2 spoke first. So this time, if you are partner 1, I want you to tell your story. And partner 2, here's what I want you to do. partner two, I want you to pretend like you're the writing teacher and you're thinking like a writer, and you are helping partner one tell their story so you can almost see it like a movie, like I just did.
Okay.
All right, so turn and partner one tell your story. Partner two listen. I heard some amazing storytelling coming from everybody's mouths. So I just want to tell you one more thing before you actually get a chance to go back to your class and try this a little bit more. So remember, when you want to do something really well, we have to rehearse it or practice it. And each time you tell that story, you're going to remember more and more details, and it's going to help your story get better and better. And so I wanted to show you, before I send you off, one other little trick that you can do. So you can try. Did you notice I put some like tiny little sketches here? And so you can make, before you start writing, you can make just some tiny little sketches to help you remember to tell your story. And so remember in the beginning of my story, I was on my playground, and so I just made the little sketches of my friends coming with money in their hands. And then on the next page, I made a teeny tiny little sketch, and that's, I'm not an artist, but it's just a sketch. And that's me at the store, and there's candy on the shelves, and I have some candy in my hands. And I didn't tell you what happened next. But the next thing that happened, do you want to know what happened next?
Yeah.
When I was at the store, I looked up, and my mom was there. So the end of my story is not a happy ending.
Keep on going.
So today I'm going to tell you something a little bit different. Bum, ba-da-bum, bum. Instead of going off and just getting to choose, be the boss of your own writing when you go back to your class, today I want you to stick with the story that you were telling today. And I want you to practice telling it a couple of different times. And you might even want to make some little sketches like this.
Can
So
it be fiction?
it's a true story. So you're telling a true story.
And
And in your notebooks, in your folders that you have with you now, you have pages that look like this. So you're not going to write today. You're not going to, maybe I'll come back later and tell you the end. You're not going to write today, but you can do little teeny sketches to help you tell your story. All right, so boys and girls, I have to go meet with the librarians right now, and I'm going to tell them about the amazing stories that you're working on. And Miss Katie and Miss Maine are going to tell you what they want you to